Ashes of Creation had a lot of controversy in the last weeks. Is it still the number one contender of the MMO of the future? We're talking about it. Let's dive right into it. Stefan, what is your arena of opinions about Ashes of Creation?
So I think everybody watched the Asmongold video where he was reacting to a video, a lot of drama about Ashes of Creation. And my arena of opinion is the game development has been too slow. It might be a case of vaporware, so it will never happen, or maybe in the future, like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, the question is it slow? Because they have a big team, I heard, or a relatively big team, like 80 people or something like that. So it's not the smallest team. But I think they have really, really big ambition. And if you have a big ambition, but not the team you need for it, you take a long time. And that's, I think, why they make the process completely transparent.
Yeah. Well, it is hard to tell you if it's too slow or is it fair enough to be where it is now. But they go with a big approach. I mean, like, they're really trying to make a good game. They're making a masterpiece. The question is, how long will it take to make that masterpiece a finished product where you can release it and people can play it? I mean, people can already play it, and people are enjoying it at the moment actually to play. But still, how long will it take when it's finished?
Yeah, that's a good question. My arena of opinion is Ashes of Creation is not actually a scam project, but they try to make money.
It is hard to tell. I watched the video and I think the founder said he put 50 million of his own money into the game. I don't know where he have 50 millions, but if it's true, then
Yeah, he had companies before, and his husband as well. I think.
okay. So yeah, I mean, if I'm not trying to make something real, I would not put 50 millions into something. So I think if he puts 50 million of his own money into a project, I think he's serious and he's trying to make a good game. Of course, in the end, he wants to make also money with that. And but yeah, I think it is not a scam in the end. And also, you see the progress of the game. I think they're making like every month like a Q&A session where they're showing the newest thing and they talk about what happened in the game. And I mean, people already uh, for the Pirate Software, for example, said he played the phase 1 and it was garbage, I think. And 1 month later, or phase 2 or something like that, it was a complete different experience, and it was like a huge, big game which he enjoyed to play.
Yeah, that's. I think it's all about a different approach because Stevens or the GM or the I don't know the leader of the project. Also, we don't know if what is true, how much money he put into the project. I never seen proof, but he said he wants to make the whole development process transparent, that he can react with the community for changes and stuff like that. And that is a very, very fair approach and a high risk approach as well, because it can also, if something is fucked up, people have the impression of that. But that is probably why it feels so slow, because you see all the steps step by step, and then you think next time when you see something, oh, nothing has changed that much. In comparison, the MMO from Riot is also in development, and nobody asks about this one. Nobody says it's a scam. Nobody says it takes ages. Nobody says that about this game. So I think it's more a thing about the approach they're going with the transparency.
Yeah, and also like if you never created an own game, try it, and then you see like changing. I don't know, just a little thing. You think it should be so easy, and then in the end you have bugs and all this kind of stuff. They're trying like so many different things where the world is reacting and spells are reacting to other spells and all this kind of stuff. So much things are growing in the background. There are so many possibilities for bugs and errors, and for that this kind of stuff are working smooth, but you have to think they're making a big world, so that's a huge amount of work and time you have to put in.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, let's dive right into the topic. I would say into the main quest. My first question would be, what is your impression of Ashes of Creation for now? Because after the video of Narc, I think it was, a lot of people in general saw the game out of the perspective of a scam and stuff like that. So, what is your impression of the game right now?
I think actually that Asmongold did make a good job, and also have to say Steven, the founder of the studio, a great job, because I I would say I saw really a few people doing reacting like instantly, and like not like employees. The founder of the studio is going live streaming, say, hey guys, I'm reacting now to that, you're thinking that's a scam, and I say, no, that's not a scam, look here, that's happening, blah blah blah. He's going on a one-on-one session with Asmongold, neutral, saying, asking the question we want to know, and afterwards inviting for the content creator of Private Software. And then you see like what's really going on and what is really in the game, because most of the people actually didn't play the game, so just see things and can react to things. And I think what's the name of the content creator who did the scam video?
I think
Narc was going for views, and yeah, maybe he will get the backlash for that. But in the end, I think Steven did a great job going live, reacting, and said the things he had to say, and showed also, didn't just talk, he showed live the things they're working on.
Yeah, I think the first impression, and Asmongold had also the first wrong impression when he was watching the video of Narc. But I think it's solved afterwards, after these discussions. And as you said, I think it's a very good thing if the founders are so responsive. And they said he's also in forums and stuff like that all the time and responding to players. So, yeah, very good job of him.
And to your question, my actual moment at the moment is I'm thinking actually to buy the game to play, because the feedback from Thor. So he's saying he have a nice experience, and we're going through the question, but the game is huge at the moment already. If you just think about the stuff you want to play, I think if you want to go to level 25, you need 100 hours, he said, if I'm correct. So yeah, but let's move on. So what's your
let's dive.
what is your first impression at the moment, or your actual impression at the moment?
Yeah, let's dive right into that topic, because the conversation with Thor was actually the conversation I was watching as well, and it was very interesting because Thor knows a lot of stuff. He worked at Blizzard when World of Warcraft was amazing, so he knows a lot of stuff, and he knows a lot of programming as well. So he knows what a good game is, and he says that is the first MMO which reminds him of classic World of Warcraft back in the days, and the feeling is amazing. And that was something, because I lost track about Lost Ark, to be honest. I was not following it anymore because I thought it will never happen, and it probably will launch in 2040.
Ashes of Creation or Lost Ark? Because you said Lost Ark.
Did I say Lost Ark? Ashes of Creation, yeah. So I was not following Ashes of Creation anymore. And yeah, Thor was so positive about it, and when I heard that they're focusing on the leveling and stuff like that, not on the end game like every other game, on the leveling again, like classic World of Warcraft was, then I was interested again, and then I thought this could be a very good game as well. But I was looking a little bit deeper into it then, and was watching the whole review, and I have my thoughts. I will talk about a little bit later. It will be different than the positivity I talk now about. But yeah, the impressions of the game pretty good, and I like the style that they want to try to go into the direction of World of Warcraft Classic. Yeah.
All right. So we are going right into the topic deep dive. So Michael, is like Ashes of Creation stand out as the unique or innovative studio?
I think they're very near to the players. They respond to the players and they take the approaches of players and want to implement them. And the developer team are also gamers who love MMORPGs. Because I say that because we got notice about a lot of developers or art designers or stuff like that, which are developing games or working on games, don't actually like gaming, we heard. And that is the case in a lot of companies. Not a lot of people, but still there are people on projects who don't like it. So I think it's very different on this project. It's a complete passion project. And in case of the MMO, the very interesting thing will be that it's all player based. It is all very dynamic. The world is dynamic, and it will be very. I think it has the potential to be very immersive. This has pros and cons. We can talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I think that's my impression of it. What about you?
So also watching for interview with Almangold, I think the crazy part about is the game itself is actually about the players. So they have this node system and this player driven story actually that you can be like you have a big guild and you can be the president of this area and you decide, for example, what are the taxes in that area, what are we focusing, you decide what kind of quest this area has, and a lot of stuff is actually going on. And I think the player based story is really what is awesome. Also, for said, for example, and I'm interested about your opinion that, for example, you don't actually has to level. You can be level 10, for example, and play end game, for example, because you're focused on whatever blacksmith or leatherworking or trading animals or something like that. And then you have your caravan and you're driving from one town to another. And you said to the people around you, yeah, I will be at 10 p.m. at that city. If you want something, you can come there. Just imagine that already, like thinking, what the fuck is going on? So, what do you think about that?
This is a very interesting topic because in one of the Dragonflight patches, World of Warcraft introduced that and said, you can now be a full-time blacksmith. You can now be a full-time leather worker. You don't have to, you can focus completely on professions and this is your end game, your gameplay, you know? But it was never like this. The professions didn't change, only a little bit of mechanic changed, but you cannot be a full-time this is complete bullshit. What Ashes of Creation did was very, very interesting because Thor explained it. And it's like you don't give a shit about leveling that much. You go into the, for example, blacksmithing for creating armor. And in every raid or in every dungeon, you can bring your blacksmith with. You have to protect him, your blacksmith, the guy who specialized on blacksmithing, for example. You protect him through the dungeon, and then at a boss, he can create special armor for the boss. And if you wear this armor, the boss is way easier, and you can make special mechanics with it. So they implemented actually end game mechanics and gameplay for each what is it called, the subclasses, the professions for each profession, you know. They implemented that, and if you have a mechanic like this, then you can play the class or the profession as a main class, you know. And that is the interesting part. And he also said when you bring a blacksmith with it, the boss can drop specific profession gear. So the profession guy can drop that, or the whole team can drop it. You can give it to the profession guy, and then you can craft way crazier things with it. So the whole node, the whole city, profits from all this kind of stuff. Or you bring your mount guy with it, and then you drop something for the mount guy, and he can make better mounts for your whole city, stuff like that. This is very, very interesting because it brings a way different mechanic and dynamic inside the game. And that is what I thought what World of Warcraft wanted to implement, but it was a disaster. It's not at all what they said it is. It is completely different. And if they can get it, if they can do it, then it would be amazing.
When I heard this, I was like thinking, that's awesome. You don't have like. Also, he said, for example, there's so many things, but let's go and we will talk about it. I think.
I mean, if you have something, let's dive into the next one. If you wanted to say something.
All right. So there are like I think 12-man dungeons, right? But you can also go with 15. But you can also go with 6 people, I think, or 8 people within, or something like that. But it's then really hard. So under 6 or 8, I don't remember the number, but then it's hard. And with 15, it's more easier. So the dungeon bosses actually are not scaling with the amount of people you're putting inside. Do you think that's the right call, or is it not the right call that like it is getting easier with more people, or is it just logic that it should be like that?
I actually think it should be like that. It should be like not scaling, because the whole scaling is destroying the feeling for the world, and that is the classic WoW approach a little bit, because it's logical. The more people you bring to finish something, the easier it is, and it's rewarding. So if there are a lot of people who don't like the crazy hard end game, and these people go in with 15 people, and then they have a good time and finish this kind of thing. The drops are probably still the same, so a lot more people who have to share the loot. But if you want to have a challenge, you go in with 6 people or with 8 people, and then you get maybe a special achievement or something like that, but still the same. So I think, for me personally, and I hope this is the same for the outer world, that it's not scaling with your level, because then you feel all the time like the same idiot. And when you're in classic WoW, you struggle a ton with the first mobs, and then when you come back after 10 level, you destroy everything, and that is the feeling you want to have in a MMO.
Yeah, I could not agree more. So I'm full on your side. But I find it interesting because, like, for me, it is normal that if you pick more people into the raid, the boss is scaling. So he will do more damage, more health, and all this kind of stuff. So, and now it's changed. So, and then I was thinking, is that good? And I think, well, it's logical. Like, if you go with more people, it should be easier. So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too. We talked about the node and the chief of the city, the mayor, and stuff like that. My question is it a good system to implement a mayor chief for a city, and the players define the world? Because what happens if, for example, I don't know, players come into the game later or something like that, or I don't know.
So, Thor explained it good, but also not deep enough, I think. So, I'm not so deep into the node system, but it is an interesting method which I would like to have in many kind of games, that you as a gamer with your community have a really impact to the world, and you can make your own stories, and you have to something decide, like you're now the mayor, you're the president or whatever, and you can decide now what will happen in that city, in this area, and so on. So I think it is really interesting. I think it can be really nice, but from the development part or as a founder, I think it's really difficult to make it perfect. Because, for example, I think the problem with new ones is solved because for the node system, I think the mayor has a better life if he gets more people into the city. So he is like, Thor explained it, I don't remember it, but he said it is important and everyone is supporting the whole system. And also, for example, they lowered the tax that more people are coming to the city. So I think in the end it is like a normal, like if, for example, Germany wants to have more people coming to Germany, well, they lower the tax and make it attractive, and then people will come. And so it's the node system. So it's similar to the world. From the development part, I think it's really difficult to make it perfect, that it's not destroying the experience from other players as well.
Yeah, and I was a little bit concerned because that meant to me, when you have a big community, you are automatically the mayor, the chief of the city, you know, because New World actually was or is very, very similar to that. They have chiefs and mayors as well. They have the tax system as well. It's very similar in that case. I come to this in my next question as well. But what was interesting then, what Thor told me, I didn't know that before as well. You have different nodes, and every node defines the chief and the leader different. And that is very interesting, because there is the community node where they vote for a leader, and that's probably the streamer node then. But there is also the fighting node where you fight for being the leader, the strongest wins. There is the economy thing, the best guy in the economy wins and is the leader then. So that is a nice approach, I think, and can be very interesting and an interesting dynamic. But it is also a snowball thing, no? Because when you're playing the game the most and the longest, then you're probably the best in case of equipment and stuff like that, and you will always be the best motherfucker. So what my concern is that the game starts probably, I don't know, 2026 maybe. Let's guess that. And from 2026 onwards, all the same people are all the time the chief of the nodes, you know? That is my concern, that the game is very static and they build all these mafias and stuff like that, and everything is the same.
Yeah, I was also questioning me that how many nodes are there? Like, for example, is there like one streamer node, but like then streamers are fighting for that? But of course, like if Asmongold is going in there, well, he have the most support, so he will win against, for example, a Picabo. But has maybe Picabo the possibility to have another server or something like that and can play there, but still can they interact together? So that was like, how many mayors can there be, and is it then, like you said, like a mafia? So there will be only like always the same, and they're doing, and you have to go with the big ones, and there is no Elon Musk who can save us.
Yeah, that's actually a problem. And New World, it was actually the problem. You had different cities as well, and 3 different factions. But then at some point, one faction is getting so big that most of the people are joining this faction, because otherwise you would be harassed all the time and stuff like that. So that is a big concern in case of when players define the world. Some node will go very, very big at some point, or I don't know, some guild or something, and everyone want to join this guild or node because it makes the most sense. Otherwise your gaming experience would be worse.
Yeah, so if someone expert Ashes of Creation knows something about that, write it down in our comments. We are really interesting about that.
If there is a Ashes of Creation expert, would be nice to have you on the podcast to discuss all this kind of stuff, and you could answer our question as well. That would be amazing. I have one question to follow up, because I was talking about New World and the comparison with it. My question is, in general, will Ashes of Creation be a better New World, but still a niche MMORPG and not for the broad audience? Because New World was actually, through this whole system with the nodes, with the cities and stuff like that, with the mayors as well, was a very niche MMORPG. And not for the broad audience. MMO like World of Warcraft is for the broad audience, and that was why it was so crazy successful. So my thoughts are that Ashes of Creation at the moment looks very similar to New World, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Asmongold and Pirate Software already said Ashes of Creation is that what they wished New World would be. So Ashes of Creation already is better than New World. So, but New World had the potential to go this way, but it failed. So
yeah, that would be definitely a big thing. Tell us in the comments, what do you think about that? Let's go on with another question of your stuff.
The mayor is like a real job in the end. So it is not like a fun job that, for example, everyone wants to be the mayor because there's a lot of how it's called.
Administrative
Yeah.
tasks. Yeah.
So that I think that maybe that it will be often a shift because people will get maybe a mayor, but things will thinking about that, oh, that's a shit to be because I have to do so lot for the community. And that then there is a lot of, I don't want to have it maybe. What do you think about that? Can this happen?
I don't think so. Because you also have a lot of benefits through it, and it's also the prestige. It's like being in the real world, being a CEO, for example. You have a lot of work, you have a stressful life, but you also have the benefits of being rich and stuff like that. So would you sacrifice being rich and go to being a normal employee? No, most of the guys would not do it. So I think it's pretty similar in this world, because in the digital world, a lot of people doing that for the prestige as well. And the prestige in Ashes of Creation of being a mayor is pretty good. You're one of the only ones which are having a flying mount and stuff like that, and you can also command all your people in the city in the node to do certain quests, or you can guide the direction of the node and where the world is exploring and where the world is building in the future. So I cannot see it. I think people who want to do it will do it for as long as possible.
Yeah, it would be interesting, like how active you have to be for the mayor. Because, like, for example, can we as a regular player be a mayor or are we less active? For example, how many hours you should spend to be a good mayor, for example?
I think you have to be daily a couple hours online, because Thor already showed what he has to do. You have to guide the quests, to have the all the tech stuff. You have to collect and distribute all the items and stuff like that. And that is only a little bit of that. And yeah, maybe you can automate some things, but I think you have to be online daily and do stuff. Yeah.
Crazy.
So probably not a job for the average Andy, to
Yeah.
be honest. Not a job for a casual. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the end it will be content creator who are being mayors. And for example, I don't know, Picabo will be the mayor of the PvP section and so on. So, but yeah, do you think, for example, OnlyFangs would be better in Ashes of Creation as a content project than World of Warcraft Classic?
No, there is no chance, I think, because World of Warcraft Classic is so popular because everyone, even people which never played MMORPGs, can jump in because it's easy. Easy in general. You see it in Tyler 1. It's easy to play in general, but you only don't have to be stupid. That's the only thing. You don't have to overestimate yourself. You have to be on the rules. So it's easy to play, and it's not a reactive thing to play. It's more like on the slow side, and I think that is what makes it so appealing to the broad audience. Everyone who looks at it understands it because it's so easy. And it will be different with Ashes of Creation. It will be more in the higher speed of gameplay and stuff like that, more competitive. So I cannot see that. What do you think?
Interesting. I would say I would go a different approach. I would say it is better, maybe in the final product, but what Thors said, I see Ashes of Creation the better game for an OnlyFang project if they would have a hardcore feature as well as I don't know, something like that if you die you have to start again. That's the only thing, but other than that I think you can have more content creation stuff going on in this kind of direction, because node system and all this kind of stuff have different mayors and trying to be the one who have all of that, so you can do a lot of crazy stuff attacking other nodes. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah, I think most of the people which are coming back to World of Warcraft for the OnlyFangs already played World of Warcraft in their life. And that is why they are coming back for the project, because everyone knows World of Warcraft. Everyone had played it at some point. who is streaming had played it at some point in their life, and I think that is what makes it so successful. The OnlyFangs project, because World of Warcraft is, everyone knows it, everyone played it, everything about World of Warcraft Classic is public. So I think that is one thing why it's so successful. I cannot see it in another game. Why is nobody trying it with New World, for example? Or I don't know, what is the second most biggest thing with RuneScape or with Final Fantasy 14? There are a lot of opportunities and better games for it in case of the core game to make cool things in the game. But yeah, I think it's about the game.
All right. Do you have another question?
What do you think about the adaptation of the monetization system of World of Warcraft? Because they want to go the same way with a monthly fee and a transmog cash shop. What do you think about that?
I think it's okay to have a monthly subscription for a game, if it's good. So then it's okay. For myself, I have to say, because they're really like trying to don't have pay to win in the game, hopefully, and they stick to it. So if they're only going with cosmetics, then it's fine. But I hope they don't put something in which is then give you opportunities in the game, like, I don't know, flying mounts you can buy through the shop, and otherwise you have to make some big effort to get any flying mounts, for example. I hope they don't do it, but let's see. Other than that, Asmongold would say probably no, because why should you pay for a monthly game if you can just buy a game and you play the game? Yeah. So yeah, but it's for myself, it's okay, because if €10, if I play 2 days, I spend less money on food or going drinking with friends.
I think it's fine, but I'm not a fan of the transmog store, to be honest, because back in the days in World of Warcraft, for example, one of the best feelings was when you see someone with a great armor, and then you know he has this armor, it looks badass, and he did this crazy thing to get this armor, And I don't have this feeling anymore in any game, because everywhere you can buy a lot of crazy transmogs which look amazing. Diablo, Path of Exile, for example. Would be nice if they go the different route, that you have this feeling again. For example, you see someone with a crazy weapon and you know, fuck, he killed this boss and was lucky, like the 0.1%, like the Glyphs of Azeroth, the Glyphs of Azeroth. Yeah, that would be amazing. I hope this will happen, but I don't think it will happen. So it will still be in the past.
I agree to that, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Do you have any questions left?
So Ashes of Curation launched in 2017 and raised over 3 million on Kickstarter. And they had a bit support, and it initially planned for 2022 to be released. And now we have 2025. When do you think Ashes of Curation will be finished product?
I didn't know that. 2022 is a long time ago. That's actually, that's crazy, actually. I can understand why a lot of people are upset and thinking it's a scam project, because that's how scam projects are going. We are in Alpha 2, so probably this year, I think the schedule is that this year a beta will come. So I think the game could release probably in 2027. That's my... If I had to bet on Polymarket when the game will launch, 2027 would be probably the year, I think. What about you?
I hope 2026. Other than that, it is way too long, actually. If you think that's like 7 years later than you actually planned. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I hope next year. And also when things are not ready, or the end story is not ready, make the game until, I don't know, 25, 30 levels. And then there's a stop, and then you have to wait until the next expansion is coming or stuff like that. So...
like the season of discovery approach.
Yeah, so that, but people can start to play the game. But yeah, crazy. Let's see what will happen. Other than that,
Um,
I don't have any further questions. Oh, I have one last question. Um, do you think the transparency is the right way for game studios to interact with their gamers?
yes and no. That's a difficult question because in one thing you can implement all the things the players have to criticize or something like that, or ideas of players. You can implement that on the way. On the other part, what is not appealing to me is that you see everything of the game already. Sure, it will be a little bit changed, but you already see, this zone will be there, this class will be there, the class has this. The nice thing back in the days was you jump into a game and everything is new. You don't know anything and you explore. That is the nice. Yeah. So there is not a perfect answer for it. I think everything has pro and cons.
I think one con is also that not every game studio can hold the pressure, maybe. And maybe that's why people or games will be not released because the pressure was too big and people stopped the project. So that's one con, maybe as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Okay, I would say let's jump to the machine overload. Let's hear what AI has to say about Ashes of Creation, then the side quest and the keyboard warriors for comments in general. Machine overload. I asked Grok about the game, and Grok said the following: the entry of Ashes of Creation into the MMO market could be potentially revitalize interest in the genre, especially with its unique node system and player-driven world shaping. But its success will hinge on delivering on promised features without compromising on gameplay. I feel cautiously optimistic about the game, given the progress shown in its alpha phases. But there's a risk of overhyping, which could lead to unmet expectations. Its future achievements will largely depend on maintaining a balance between ambitious design and practical implementation, ensuring the game does not suffer from the pitfalls of feature creep or extended development cycles. Probably the same everyone thinks. If it's overhyped, that's not good for the game as well. And the gameplay has to fit. It's nice to have a complete crazy world, which player can decide, but the gameplay has to be nice. And that is also something, if they need so much time for this whole game, what is it with the expansions and stuff like that? So the next expansion will come in 15 years then, or so we play 2 expansions in our life and then we are dying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy how long it takes. Yeah, my machine overload is not really much different what we are already talked or you said already at the moment. So, but I have one last question actually I want to put into that. What do you think about the approach of the spells who interacting with each other? So if I'm playing mage and you're playing mage, and I make a frostbolt and my enemy is frozen, and you go with a lightning spell, then you shatter the ice and make extra damage because of my spell before, and this is everything interacting. Same with melee, same with healing and all this kind of stuff. So I never saw this kind of approach because to balance that is crazy, I think. Somehow it's working. And Thor said that's something he is really enjoying because you have really to talk with each other to say, all right, I do that, you will do that. And thing about also PvP, you have really to make the combos that you get all the bonus damage and all this kind of stuff. But for me, myself, I think that's crazy and appealing.
And they combine that with not having a DPS meter, I think, in PvE. So that is going in the different direction than World of Warcraft, and I think that is what made World of Warcraft so not appealing, the gameplay in group. That's because it's dying. Yeah, it's nice because you focus more on group gameplay and on players working together than individuals which are doing a lot of damage. Because when you have the DPS meters, people want to be top target and they don't care about what the group is doing. Main target is that I'm on top of the list, but the target of the group, if that's not possible, in case of Ashes of Creation, is we're going through this dungeon, through this boss, and doing the best we can to harmonize and to kill the boss as fast as possible together. And I think let's see how it works. I'm curious because I have a similar question as well. How the solo gameplay is then, when you cannot do all this kind of combos solo. How is the solo gameplay then? But yeah, it's an interesting approach, and I like that they're going into this direction and taking this risk.
All right. So we are going to the side quest.
Yes. What is your side quest?
So my side quest is crowdfunding in game development. How has Kickstarter changed the game development? For example, with the Ash of Creation being a notable example with a raise of 3 million, but the delay of already almost 7 years or 8 years actually.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I think people on this platform are used to being scammed because there were a lot of projects only collecting money and being rug pulled and stuff like that. So that is also the negative of it. But in general, good that people can come up with ideas and the ideas are getting funded if the ideas are good. That's a very good thing, and that's more like the people's venture capital, and I liked it a lot. I think it's a good thing.
Agree. So if you want to support our self-funded app on App Store or Google Play Store, you can support our product, Gamers Playground, on iOS or Android. It's an application where you can find like-minded player as you and connect together. So try it out. It's a nice app. And Michael, what is your side quest?
My side quest is we have a couple big MMOs in the making. Right, MMO, Ashes of Creation, stuff like that. Dune. Will there be a big winner in the future? And who could it be? What would be the best guess?
Ready Player One. No, like...
So the game which is not developed.
Yeah, if I think it's if I think about Ashes of Creation, so let's see, maybe next year, maybe 2027. Who knows? All right, and also all the other games, they're like old school games. Nothing like crazy, special, different, more into the game. So then if you think like the world is going crazy, AI agents, AI robots, and so on, VR, AR, I can't imagine to play this kind of game in this kind of style with my mouse and a laptop or a PC keyboard. So I can't imagine actually to see this kind of games living really good in 5 years. I can't see how. So they have to change something. Like maybe I can put on a suit and have my VR or AR glasses on, and then I jump into, and then I'm an orc warrior in World of Warcraft running through Azeroth, and then that's a different experience. But in 5 years, I can't see myself playing with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, we will see if it till then everything changed. I can see it, to be honest. I think people will still play games like now in 5 years. We're talking about a different time in 10 or 20 years, but I think in 5 years it's still this time. I mean, we had already. I was already playing 3 years ago, MMO in VR. It was not the thing we thought it would be, but it was playable. Yeah, it has to evolve. Everything has to evolve. But we see a lot of crazy things from Nvidia now, so maybe they will push very fast through all the next futures, and we are seeing that in 5 years. Could be.
Let's see.
Yeah. Do we have any keyboard warriors?
Phil6844, and he wrote a comment about our summary of what happened in ONLYFANGS because Soda Popping was dying and the new war chief Tyler 1 is born. And he wrote, Tyler 1 is just a character. He's actually hardworking and smart as hell. He wouldn't be where he is if he wasn't. So that was his comment. What do you think about that, Michael?
Yeah. I don't think Tyler One is a complete character. I think that's his personality. But he is definitely hardworking. He is a very smart guy. He's a crazy guy. When you see how competitive he is and which kind of crazy, he's good in every game, and he's an amazing guy for sure.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of energy, and this is his role and his character. But you saw also when his daughter was on stream, he changed. He was a little bit more calm down and was happy with his kid and of Skype. So he was not that Tyler One when he is alone in his dark room and coming like this. so, yeah, so I think he's a character, but of course he's hardworking and smart because otherwise he would not be there where he is. And the next one was from AppCroll, and he wrote the comment under Michael's PoE 2 release, or beginner experience actually. So he tried also on Steam Deck, and his fan was loud as a plan engine. Battery is low. Also can't imagine struggle to play a brief map with 10 FPS.
Yeah, I commented under this comment and said that the Steam Deck is loud. That's true. The battery is about 45 minutes, I think, when it's full. So that's pretty good for a thing which can play, where you can play with AAA games and stuff like that. I think that's fine. Other than that, you play on the plugged in, and that's fine as well. And yeah, sometimes I said also in the review, you have to make sacrifices on some maps. I had it only in one map so far, and I played, I don't know, maybe 20 maps or something like that. But I think in general for the system, it's working very well.
So I don't have a Steam Deck, so I can't say anything about that. So, all right, that was our keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
So you can start the comment war under that video. And what do you think about Ashes of Creation? What do you think about what we said? And yeah, Michael, the last words are yours.
Yeah, not really. But if you like the channel, give us a follow on the channel. Give us a like on the video for our effort. We are delivering 2 podcasts every week for you, and the clips as well, and a couple projects following this year as well. So if you're interested in that, give us a follow. And yeah, the last words are yours, Stefan.